At 91, Sophia Loren's name still evokes an era of unmatched glamour, resilience, and magnetic screen presence. For decades, she has carried herself with a kind of regal privacy, speaking only rarely about the people and experiences that shaped her long career. So when she finally chose to reflect on her brief professional interactions with George Peppard, the revelation was less about scandal and more about time, memory, and the way two strong personalities can cross paths in the demanding world of filmmaking. What emerged was not a salacious confession, but a thoughtful meditation on respect, miscommunication, and the pressures that swirl around creative work. Loren explained that she and Peppard, both stars of Hollywood's golden age, never shared a long or intimate working relationship. Their encounters were limited, but those interactions were tinged with the unmistakable intensity that characterized many actors of that era. She described Peppard as a man of immense discipline, someone who approached acting with a military-like resolve that could, at times, feel intimidating to those around him. She noted that his focus was admirable, even if it sometimes created a distance. For a young actress working to establish herself, that distance felt like a wall, though she admitted it might simply have been Peppard's way of navigating the pressures placed upon him. What made her finally speak about him, she said, was not a desire to settle old tensions, but a recognition that people are often judged by fragments of their lives. At 91, she has come to value nuance more than ever. She recalled moments when Peppard's seriousness softened perhaps a quiet smile during a break, or a subtle nod of approval delivered without ceremony. These small gestures, she reflected, revealed a man far more layered than the stoic exterior suggested. In an industry often dominated by egos and theatrics, Peppard stood apart as someone who took his craft seriously, sometimes to the point of isolation. Loren emphasized that as a young woman, she sometimes misread that intensity as disapproval. The pressures of Hollywood, with its scrutiny and relentless expectations, often magnified insecurities. But with the clarity of age, she now sees that two ambitious performers can orbit each other without fully understanding the internal struggles each is carrying. She expressed a kind of gratitude for having encountered people like Peppard, people who challenged her to interpret not just scripts, but also the emotional rhythms of those around her. The most striking part of her reflection was the tenderness she extended toward the memory of a man who, in popular recollection, is often remembered for being difficult or aloof. She rejected the idea that a single reputation can define a whole person. Instead, she urged younger performers and fans to consider the complexities of artists working under intense, personal, and professional pressure. She acknowledged that Peppard's reputation for being exacting both with himself and others may have been accurate, but she saw that trait as rooted in a deep desire to produce meaningful work, not as a flaw of character. Loren's voice gained warmth when she spoke about the fragility of legacy. At her age, she has outlived many colleagues, friends, and rivals, and she recognizes that the stories left behind are often incomplete. She understands, too, that the nuances of interpersonal dynamics get flattened by time. In offering her view of Peppard, she hoped to restore some of that nuance, to contribute a more compassionate perspective to the narrative of a fellow actor who, like her, tried to navigate the complicated world of fame. She also admitted that her own reticence to discuss the past came from a desire to avoid stirring speculation or inflaming old misunderstandings. But as she reflected on her life's final chapters, she realized that speaking with honesty, gentle, measured honesty, could be a gift, not just to others, but to herself. In honoring Peppard's discipline, ambition, and human complexity, she felt she was also honoring the generation that shaped her, the constellation of stars whose brilliance defined a cinematic era. Her final sentiment was simple: people are more than their reputations, more than the anecdotes preserved in interviews or biographies. They are stories of effort, of dreams pursued, and obstacles confronted. In remembering George Peppard with empathy rather than judgment, Loren offered a reminder that even in Hollywood, where illusions are crafted and consumed, daily kindness remains the most enduring truth.